supplies last.
Okay, that is wonderful. It's wonderful having you back again. But tonight, I know everybody's waiting to hear from our special guest for tonight. Our special guest for tonight is the iconic Glenn Jones. He's iconic, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, say hello to our family on tonight.
What's up, hometown? What's up, Duval?
and I heard an interesting fact about you. I did not know until here recently that you're from Jacksonville.
Born and grow.
What?
Yeah.
And what school did you go to?
I went to Stanton, New Stanton.
New Stanton. Look at you.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that's great. Your hometown made it good, came
Right.
back.
Yeah. Well, you know, all my family is here.
Okay.
And you know, they always supported me, you know, in my music. And I started out, you know, typical start, you know, singing in the church.
Okay.
You know, I had a group, a gospel group called the Modulations. Young group, you know, probably from the age of, the guys were from the age of 14 up to about 18, 19.
Okay.
And we recorded a couple of gospel projects. Reverend James Cleveland produced my first album.
Cool. What was the name of that? That's like.
With a Made Up Mind was the name of the album.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you told me also that you did some work with the Kansas Spirituals.
Yeah. Brother Harvey Watkins, I actually wrote and produced and performed on a record, Never Let Go, which was nominated for a Grammy.
Okay.
And it won a Stellar Award.
Wow.
From the album, can't think of the name of the album right now. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So it's great that not only are you returning to Jacksonville, but you kind of like started out in your roots, starting in the church.
Yeah.
And did that lead you directly into singing R&B, or was there something? Did you stop along the way and do some other work?
Well, no. Actually, it was one of the albums that I did. I did a second album after I did the first album with James Cleveland. I did an album called Feel the Fire on the Savoy record label.
Okay.
And, you know, it started to make some noise. And there was a jazz producer named Norman Connors who heard my gospel record. And he was getting ready to do a new project, a new album out in California. And he asked me to fly into D.C. to meet with him.
Okay.
And we met. And then the next thing I know, I was on a flight headed to Los Angeles working with Norman. And I just kind of, you know, went in that direction. And from there, the single I did was a song called Melancholy Fire, which went to like top 15.
Wow.
So that's when I started getting the attention of different record labels. So I got a record deal with RCA Records from there.
Okay. And what time was this? In the 80s?
This was in the 80s. I signed with RCA, I think it was around 82.
In 1982. Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So that was the time when everybody was all out there.
Right, yeah.
So that's great. It was a great time in music, the 80s.
It was a beautiful time.
There was such a diverseness in music. I
Yeah.
mean, no matter what you like, whether you like Prince or whether you like R&B, and
Right.
there was something for you. So
Well,
you definitely had a market even then.
Right. Well, I think that's why people are attracted to the old school thing now, because
Cool.
music was a different thing. You know, it wasn't a bunch of loops and, you know, samples and stuff.
Exactly. All
You
the
know,
auto-tunes.
The auto-tune. It was a creative flow. People were singing, people were arranging, people were playing.
Right.
And it was just, it was totally original.
But I think what people miss most is the creativity of music, because you had artists like you that not only did you write, but you also dipped your toe in different disciplines as well as gospel and
Yes.
R&B, and you wrote, and you had to, your voice was your instrument.
Yes.
And you had to perfect that as well. So it was, to me, it was more creativity in music, because like you said, now it's different game, it's more looping and more, I call it smoke screens and tricks than
Yeah.
it is vocals. And I think our generation, those of us that are in the baby boomer age, we appreciate pure vocals.
Right, exactly. And everything was more distinctive. I mean, it's kind of hard sometimes to differentiate, you know, artists from one another.
Exactly.
Because it's, you know, there's this whole cookie cutter mentality kind of, you know, manufactured type you know, and everybody jumps on the same tip.
Right.
Okay, that's what's happening. Okay, that's what we're going to do.
Exactly.
When back in the day, you knew the Temptations. When you heard them, you knew the Dramatics.
Exactly.
You knew the Spinners.
Yes. They had their signature sound. That, you know a Prince song is a Prince song, and he didn't deviate. And you knew a Glenn Jones R&B cut was Glenn Jones because you knew the type of genre that you were dealing with. So I guess my question now is, what has given you the staying power with all these changes in the music industry, especially now? What has given you the staying power over the years?
I would say to thine own self be true. I've stayed true to who I am.
Right.
And, you know, there are a lot of fans, in my fan base that they look forward to that, you know, when I come with new music, which I've got a new record coming out in September.
Okay.
And the record is actually, it's an R&B record, but it's got just a taste of smooth jazz, so it's like smooth R&B.
Okay, and this is in September.
Yes.
And what's the name of this cut?
The name of the album is going to be Love by Design.
Love by Design.
Yeah, and matter of fact, that's going to be the title track because it's a duet that I'm doing with Regina Bell.
Oh, it's Regina Bell. All I Want Is Forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
She and I, we recorded a record called From Now On anyway. We did a beautiful ballad, wedding type song back in, I believe it was like 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on this new project that you got coming up, it's called Love by Design, and the title track is Love by Design, which is a duet with Regina Bell. Right. How much of it is all you? Did you produce? Did you write? What else did you do on this project?
Well, no, a good friend of mine actually wrote this song. And there's a guy named Chris Davis who's like, huge in the smooth jazz arena. He's producing the track, and Regina agreed to do it with me. You know, we've been friends for a long time. We toured together, went to toured South Africa together.
Okay.
Her brother and I are good friends. His name is Bernard Bell. You said you like Nobody Like You.
Yes, that's my
I've been
jam.
searching with Bernard, and I wrote that song together, and Bernard was also the co-writer of Remember the Time for Michael Jackson.
Okay.
And we've known each other for years.
All right. So this is going to be released September?
Yes, around September.
Okay, so will we be able to find it in stores or the normal outlets and download it?
Yeah, well, we're going to go, the different sites and stuff, but the whole retail thing is like it's almost
totally
non-existent now, so but I've run across a few mom and pops that are still around, so.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, that's Glenn Jones, folks, and we will be back after these commercial messages with more from Glenn Jones and some other information that'll be valuable to you. Thank you very much.
Do you know what media received the first Eagle Award by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for being the most factual? The Florida Star. Do you know which media solely addresses issues of concern for African Americans? The Florida Star. Do you know which media carries local, state, national, and international news regarding African Americans? The Florida Star. Do you know the only media that carries a special section for our youth at home and the schedule for 3 black television networks? Now you know. The Florida Star. Northeast Florida's largest, oldest, and most read African-American newspaper, serving since 1951 in more than 200 locations. The Florida Star. News you can use. News you can trust. The people's choice. Striving to make a difference. Subscribe today. Call 766-8834. That's 766-8834. Pick up the Florida Star at over 200 locations, or to have it delivered, call 766-8834. The Florida Star. Speaking truth to power.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. Look like we're going to have a long, hot summer. In 2016, crime was down by 2 points. I was asked a question. Do I think with more officers and the new technology in certain areas is going to solve the crime and murder problem? My answer? I think that whatever we can do to try to get the problem under control will help. It is totally out of control. We have the technology on the north side, but what about Arlington, south side, and certain areas on the west side, where shootings are occurring weekly and sometimes every other day? We're going to have the community to actively get involved to break the code of silence and tell what they know to solve the problem. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Mad Dad's the force behind the change. For more information about Mad Dads, go to Mad Dads Jacksonville chapter Facebook or maddadsjacksonville.com.
You can find what you want in R&B dominated the chart.
Oh, I know.
Okay, here we go. Hey, Jacksonville, we are back. This is Impact Radio, sponsored by the Florida Star newspaper. I am your host, Denise Williams, and tonight we have special guest in the studio, Mr. Glenn Jones. Yes, we've only just begun. Glenn Jones is with us on tonight, and we're encouraging everyone to go out and buy tickets for the show. The show is Saturday, July 22nd at the Times Union Theater. They are $35. There's a limited amount available at the $35 price point. So get your tickets early. After that, the price is $50. It is this Saturday night at 8 p.m. at the Times Union Center.
Yes, it is. The event is Saturday at the Times Union Center. Tickets are only $35 and $50. Actually, we are only 500 tickets away from sold out.
Wow.
That is not a lot of tickets, Jacksonville. I kept this show cheap and reasonable for everybody, and I know Jacksonville is a last minute market, so I'm counting on y'all to come on and enjoy. This will not be a roller coaster. We're gonna take you up and up and up, and we're gonna leave you there. So come on out and support us.
Also on that ticket, in addition to Glenn Jones, will be Betty Cleanup Woman, right? Angela Winbush, Shirley Murdoch, and also a surprise guest. You want to know who it is? You got to go out and buy your tickets. I know everybody gets paid on Friday, but borrow money from a brother or sister and go down and buy your tickets. Secure your seat. We're only 500 tickets away from a sold out show, and these are heavy hitters, Jacksonville. These are the people that we grew up on. This is the 80s music. This is the crooner music. This is R&B music that we grew up listening to, the baby boomer generation. I'm calling on you, the young people, calling on you. Buy tickets for your parents if you don't want to go. But whatever you have to do, have your face in the place. It's going to be an awesome, awesome show. So we're talking with Glenn Jones a little bit, and we're finding out about your work with in the R&B market, gospel. Have you ever done any producing?
I produce records. A lot of my own records I produced.
Okay.
And I've written for other people. I wrote for the Temptations.
Okay.
I wrote for Vanessa Bell Armstrong, and Yolanda Adams and Ben Tankard covered one of the songs that I did.
Okay.
You know, so I've been writing ever since I was 14 years old.
Wow.
But even when I was doing gospel, I came up at a time where, you had the traditional gospel, but I was always doing contemporary gospel, a little ahead of the time. Right. So when I came along, you had people that inspired me, like Rance Allen,
Oh, okay. Rance Allen's Jacksonville too, yeah?
Rance? No, Rance is, he lives in Toledo, Ohio.
Oh, in Ohio. Okay.
Yeah, he's pastoring there. But he was always ahead of his time. He never got, his just due because his music was so different. But I was young, and it inspired me, and people like Andre Crouch, those are the people that I came up on. Because when I was coming up, I wasn't allowed to listen to R&B.
Wow.
I grew up in a Pentecostal house.
Oh, I know about the Pentecostal.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I grew up there too. So what has kept you grounded? Because everybody else in the music industry, they encounter certain challenges or, addictions and things like that. What kept you grounded, dealing with different people and going different places and doing all these different types of music? What did you... how did you stay grounded? My
upbringing, probably the prayers of my mother. I stayed close to my family. Mm-hmm. And, we all, I faced challenges before, but I knew that, that God had me. My mother used to say that my life was in God's hands.
Okay.
And it's been that way. And I just always tried to be sensible and just, you might stray a little bit, but, you
always come back home.
You always come back home.
Right.
So it's been a blessing, and I've always been serious about my music. Always wanted to be successful. Okay. And I've seen a lot of things that happen to people that do get lost.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be me.
Yeah. That's pretty kind of challenging.
Yeah.
But then how do you speak to? Okay, you said you started out in the church, so. Did you make a conscious decision to start singing R&B, or did you set out to be just a gospel singer? What gave you the inspiration to start making music across different disciplines?
Well, gospel was all that I knew. I started singing with a group. There's a group that was from Jacksonville called the Bivens Specials.
Okay.
And I started singing with them when I was about 10, 11 years old, because they came to our church to perform.
Right.
And I opened the program.
Okay.
The next thing I know, they were, talking to my mother about me joining the group. So I was the youngest in the group. The founder of the group, Ms. Inez Bivens, she was also a promoter. She used to promote gospel shows, bringing James Cleveland and the Mighty Clouds and all those people.
Okay.
And finally, once we recorded a record and we got out on the road, we were like the opening act.
Okay.
For all of the gospel groups, the Mighty Clouds, even Shirley Caesar.
Mighty Clouds.
Williams was talking about Shirley Caesar. When I was 12 years old, I was playing drums. When her drummer wouldn't show up
so
for
wait
her
a minute, you used to be
to
you're
earn a couple
too?
of dollars. Oh, I'm a guitar player.
See, you can't keep holding back valuable information like this. I thought you were just singing
Jack
and
of all
writing
trades.
songs.
No.
Yeah, he's up here holding out on the audience.
No,
here.
that's
you
how
got
I
to tell
rock.
us, because there's younger fans that don't know about, like me, for example.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you used to play drums as well.
Well, that was my side instrument. I mean, my main instrument was guitar, but I knew enough to play.
Okay.
That backbeat.
Exactly.
God's not there. Probably about
no,
120
not God's
beats a
not
minute.
dead.
Shirley Caesar.
And believe it or not, Shirley Caesar called me her godson.
What?
Believe it or not, I did.
You know what, Jacksonville? You see how connected we are. We got all of these heavy hitters up in the place, and I understand. Real quick, Shirley Caesar's going to be here.
Shh, don't tell nobody, y'all. But Shirley Caesar will be here August 6th at Bethel. At the showtime start at 6 p.m.
Okay, so now you guys got it. Shirley Caesar. We put a little plug in for Miss Shirley.
Shh, don't tell nobody.
But don't tell nobody.
Just for these listeners.
So this is what happens when you call into Impact Radio. You never know what you're going to get. We're here with Glenn Jones, and if you want to call up and say hi to him, you could dial us right now at 904-766-9285. That is 766-9285. And in the next segment, we're going to have a special treat for our listeners and fans. So you better call in. So you were telling us about how you play drums.
Yeah, well, I used to play for Shirley on the side, but guitar was my main instrument. That's why I started writing so early.
Okay.
And I was, like the leader of my group. I used to,
now this is when you were 14. You started writing. Playing guitar and writing.
Playing guitar and writing.
Cool.
I was teaching my group, the music and writing the songs and arranging and stuff.
Okay.
So that led to me meeting Reverend James Cleveland. Went to Los Angeles around the time I was about 18, and recorded my first album in Ray Charles' studio.
Cool beans.
RPM.
All right, Jacksonville, you are hearing from us at Impact at the Florida Star newspaper. You have heard from Glenn Jones, and we have some information coming up for you, so stay tuned. Thank you.
Now you know the Florida Star, Northeast Florida's largest and oldest, most read African-American newspaper, serving since 1951 in more than 200 locations. The Florida Star, news you can use, news you can trust, the people's choice, striving to make a difference. The Florida Star is serving over 230,000 African-Americans living in Northeast Florida that generate $5.2 billion in buying power. Read the Florida Star weekly newspaper and find out where your money's being spent and on what. Read the Florida Star and learn what your city and state representatives are doing on your behalf. Read the Florida Star and learn how to support your neighborhood businesses. Read the Florida Star and learn how to receive city health and community services. The Florida Star received the first Eagle Award by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for being most factual. The Florida Star solely addresses issues of concerns for African Americans. The Florida Star carries local, state, national, and international news regarding African Americans. Subscribe today at 904-766-8834. The Florida Star, speaking truth to power.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. Look like we're going to have a long, hot summer. In 2016, crime was down by 2 points. I was asked a question. Do I think with more officers and the new technology in certain areas is going to solve the crime and murder problem? My answer? I think that whatever we can do to try to get the problem under control will help. It is totally out of control. We have the technology on the north side, but what about Arlington, south side, and certain areas on the west side, where shootings are occurring weekly and sometimes every other day? We're going to have the community to actively get involved to break the code of silence and tell what they know to solve the problem. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Mad Dad's the force behind the change. For more information about Mad Dads, go to Mad Dad's Jacksonville chapter Facebook or madddadsjacksonville.com.
Hey, Jacksonville. We are back with Glenn Jones and promoter William Davis, and we're sharing about his experiences and the show that's coming up on July 22nd, which is day after tomorrow. And we have a caller calling in. Hello, caller?
Yes. Hello?
Hello. And your name? First name?
Lorenzo.
Hi, Lorenzo. You are live at Impact on the Florida Star. What's your question or comment or opinion that you'd like to share?
I would just like to congratulate Glenn Jones. I've been knowing him virtually all.
I don't know. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You got to turn your volume up.
You got to roll your window up.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think you rolled your window up. Now what were you saying, sir?
I said I've been knowing Glenn Jones virtually all my life. We went to elementary school together. And Isaiah Block.
Isaiah Block. That's right.
Hey, it's a family reunion. See, Glenn, I told you I got you.
And he was in my brother. Well, my brother was in his class. Floyd Preston West.
I remember Floyd.
That's been a long time.
But we got to call Floyd and tell Floyd he got to come to the Legends of Soul Saturday because we got to make sure he meet Glenn Jones.
And we would play at his house sometimes after school.
Wow, look at that. So, Mr.
I'm really, really proud of you, brother. You made a mark in the entertainment industry, and you sound like you're a pretty outstanding guy. And I'm proud of you. I ask you to keep up the good work.
Thank you, Lorenzo.
Okay, Mr. Lorenzo, thank you for calling in. If you leave your information with our engineer, okay, we will be able to get back with you and get you those tickets for the show on Saturday night. Would that be all right?
That'll be fine.
All right, Mr. Lorenzo, can you call back after the show is over and I'll be able to take your information?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for calling.
All right.
Okay.
I'd have loved to see if he knew that answer to that question.
The Victor Station.
Hello.
Hello, hi.
I was just calling in to tell Mr. Glenn Jones that what he did, it is inspiring. Because I was listening to some of his music too.
Okay, and what's your name, ma'am?
Ma'am.
What's your name?
Thomasina.
Thomasina. Hey, Miss Thomasina, thank you for calling in. And you just wanted to share with Mr. Jones?
Just keep up the good work and inspire us young people behind him.
Thank you, Thomasina. I really appreciate that.
Thomasina, would you be interested in those tickets that we're going to give away at the box office? They'll be at the Will Call at the theater. Would you be interested in that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you give us a quick call back after the show to gather your information?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you for calling in. Okay. So we're just glad to have so many.
That's old school and new school.
That's old school right there.
So y'all was just dissing new school about 20 minutes ago. We got to backtrack now.
Yeah,
Gotta
but
take that back.
That was during the time before the internet.
Hey, well, look,
we didn't get all our music off of iTunes.
Ain't nothing wrong with iTunes.
We had to.
there is no new school without
Right,
old
I
school.
agree.
That's it. Because a lot of the new school came from those schools.
Right,
Because they
with
sample
you.
a lot of the music from Glenn Jones's era and the times when he was first coming out. I'm not going to say the name of his first single because we're going to make that a question for somebody. If you want a VIP pass, backstage pass, in addition to the tickets to the show, give me a call right now, 766-9285. And we will, and you only get one shot at the question.
One shot.
And we will give you a backstage pass. You will get to meet Mr. Jones?
Yes, you may have to guess my height, so you better be on your P's and Q's.
Man.
It'd be hard.
He's trying to make it all hard now for everybody
It may
to
be a hard question.
get the tickets. But Jacksonville, just come on out and just support what we're trying to do. Mr. Davis is trying to bring quality shows and programming to the Jacksonville area, and not just for the kids, because everybody complains that everything is geared towards the kids, but this is a show that he and his mom put together to address the baby boomer generation, so that we can come together and give love to our artists, as well as embrace the younger talent that's coming up. Because come on now, we wasn't always baby boomers. We started out 14, 15 years old. Like Mr. Jones said, we played in churches and coffee houses and on the street and got saved, and we did all that.
Look. I had a stack of my 45s, okay?
45?
Yeah, I had a stack of my R&B artists that I loved. So when my mother and father would go to the grocery store,
exactly,
I pull them out, put them on the hi-fi, as we used to call it.
Wait a minute, you said go to the grocery? Oh, you couldn't play them in the house?
No, I couldn't play it. No, man. You ain't playing that in here, boy.
He trying to get Glenn killed.
Hey, look, so my brother was the lookout person, right?
Oh, okay.
So I'd be in there listening to Donny Hathaway, Bobby Womack, everybody while he looked out. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we grew up supporting each other, and we're just asking Jacksonville to come on out. This is going to be a Power Pack weekend. I also understand that Sinbad is in town Friday night.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in town Friday night. So Jacksonville, you have no excuse. Wow. We have quality events for you
Sinbad
to come and support. Come on out. We got 500 tickets we need to get rid of into your hands. Get a babysitter. Call out sick if you work at nighttime. Do something. Take a vacation evenings. Do something. And come on out and treat yourself special to an event that's been designed with you in mind.
You deserve it.
Don't forget Cleveland Arms.
August 5th, Cleveland Arms, School Drive, 3 p.m. We're giving away boys and girls, so get there a little bit early. So we might start it off early, but it's 3 p.m. It's book bags, pencils, papers, supplies. So come on out and come support us Saturday, and we're gonna support you next Saturday, August 5th.
That's nice when you can. That's nice when you can give back like that.
Gotta give back to the kids.
I have a foundation, a nonprofit called the Love Jones Foundation. And what we do is that we go into the senior citizens places and we give them gifts, and we encourage them through music. I take my band in there, And
do you have a website or a way they can get in touch?
You can get in touch with us at lovejonesfoundation.org.
Okay, so we have Glenn Jones in the studio. Lovefoundation.org is his organization where he gives back August 5th at Cleveland Arms, 5020 Cleveland Arms. We're giving away backpack, school supplies, and everything else you need. Also, don't forget, this Saturday night, at the Times Union Center, 8 p.m. Come on out and enjoy the Legends of Soul. Glenn Jones, Shirley Murdoch, Betty Wright, Angela Winbush. I'm your host, Denise Williams, and this has been Impact Radio by the Florida Star. Thank you for listening, and God bless.
All right.